Hello, and welcome to the Daily Trench. Today we're going to be discussing propaganda, trench warfare, and what else will we be discussing, Adrian?
We'll be interviewing Kemmerich and talking about how war brings out the best in people.
That's right. Now, let's go ahead and let's cut to the talk about propaganda.
Thanks, Matt. Now we're going to talk about propaganda. Propaganda is something that the enemy uses to make their citizens hate their enemy. Isn't that right, Parker?
Yeah.
An example of propaganda is a poster that depicts their enemy as an enemy, someone who's just horrible to everyone.
Now let's go back to Matt with trench warfare.
Thanks, Parker. Now, today we're lucky enough to show you some real live footage that we've caught from out in the trenches. And here, we're going to show it to you. Man, life in the trenches is awful.
Yeah, it is. Rats are horrible.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to come down with some trench foot, too.
Oh man, these bombardments just never stop.
War never changes, boys. War never changes.
I think I'm going to lose my mind.
Rats are killing me. Now, wasn't that just amazing? Now, here, we're going to go to the live interview that we promised you all. Now, here, let's go over to Adrian in the street.
Thank you, Matt. Here we are by the street with Kemmerich. Now, my first question for you, Kemmerich, is: would you die for your country again if you had the chance?
No, I would not. It was very painful, and just the war really was just terrible.
Thank you. Next question: would you be okay with losing your other leg?
No, because the first leg I lost, I died because of it, and it really hurt.
I see. What was it like in the trenches?
I mean, it wasn't pleasant at all, and there's a lot of rats and mud and dead people. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question. Final question. Do you wish that you had never enlisted in the military?
Yes, I do. Dying was pretty terrible. Losing my leg was pretty terrible, and that's why I died. The war was very bad, and it was just not what they said it was going to be.
Thank you. That concludes our interview with Kemmerich. Thank you for your service. Over and out.
Here we are back at Trench News HQ. We're going to be discussing how war brings out the best in people. Our first example is Kaczynski, who during times of war seems to have a sixth sense for food. Would you agree with that, Matt?
Absolutely, I would.
He just seems to find food in the trenches and wherever they have it.
And another example is how Paul, the main character of All Quiet on the Western Front, is very nice to all the Russians when he is first coming back from leave. He is very kind to them, gives them things, and this shows how he's truly just being a very good person to him.
I would agree with that. Our last example of war bringing out the best in people is Himmelstas. After he returns from the war, he begins to act very nice to the soldiers who he treated with little to no respect during the war.
That's all we have for today. Now, thank you for joining us on News Trench. Now you guys just have a wonderful evening.